Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So lately I have been pretty interested in a game which actually I don't have, but I've been watching a few people stream it, and to be honest it is so adorable and I love it so much, so I wanted to do some fan art. So this game that I'm talking about is Detective Pikachu. Now, if you haven't heard of that game, there's actually also a movie coming out for that soon too as well, so pretty excited about that. I'm definitely going to watch that. But yeah, the story is about a Pikachu, and he's obviously a detective, but what's funny about this is that Pikachu kind of has a deep, manly voice in the game, which to be honest some people are freaked out by, but to be honest I really love it. I think it is pretty hilarious, and I don't know, it's just a cute game and will be movie soon, so yeah, I thought I would do a little bit of fan art for that. Now, as you saw earlier, I showed off the sketch, and to be honest I actually sketched this out on a small piece of paper. Sometimes I like to do that because sometimes it's just a little bit easier to sketch small for me. I'm not sure why, but eventually when I finished the sketch I actually scanned it into my computer and printed it out large on an A4 piece of paper because I wanted to do this artwork on A4. And after that, as you can see, I am tracing it onto my lightbox, tracing it with my lightbox onto some mixed media card. Now I'm using pencils for the line art here because I wanted it to have a soft feel to it, and I didn't want the line art too intense. I actually like using pencils for line art with my markers sometimes because, I don't know, it gives it a bit of a softer look, and I don't know, it's just a nice look overall. Now, as you saw, I started off with an underlayer on Pikachu, and I filled in all the shadows that I wanted to do with a pink marker. And sometimes I do this because I prefer to have different colors in the shadows. So if I have like a yellow object, as you can see, it's sort of like a reddish orangey tinge. And I do this a lot of the time because I think that when you have different colors in the shadows, it just makes it look a little bit more vibrant and lively. It gives it a better feel than if you were just colouring with a darker version of yellow. Now, of course, I wanted to add some more colours in the shadow, so I actually added a little bit of brown and also a little bit of purple. Now, for the black parts on Pikachu, to be honest, I have to say that my black marker is empty. I'm terrible, but I didn't want to use black anyways because I wanted this artwork to have a very warm, light feel to it. So I actually decided to use brown, like a darkish brown, burnt umber I believe it's called, for the dark parts on Pikachu, and because the colours are so light and so warm, it actually fits properly and looks good. Now, talking about that underlayer technique, I actually used the same technique on Tim here, which is the boy character. I actually used purple, I believe it's called Heath, for the shadows under the skin. Now, I just did this on a layer before I did the skin colors. And yeah, it actually makes the skin look really nice. Now, I've talked about this a lot in the past, but I will not stop talking about it because I just absolutely love the look of using purples and some pinks in the skin. You don't want to just use only skin tones because that can be boring sometimes. And yeah, I really like experimenting with colors. Now, of course, I used some pink as well. I used some pink on the end of his nose, and I made sure to blend it out nice and subtly. I also used it on the cheeks, on the tips of his ears, and on his fingers. And that just, I don't know, those parts of the skin, they have more blood flow to them, so they will have a more pinkish tinge to them in real life. So when you do that on your characters, it actually makes them look more lively. So yeah, that's what I prefer to do sometimes. Now, I actually decided to use mixed media card for this because obviously I'm lining it in pencil, but also I wanted to put a little bit of pencil over the top as well. And I did this because I wanted to add a little bit more texture here and there, and like perhaps add some more shading and highlights to places, because sometimes I just really like that aesthetic. I think it has a bit of a illustration look to it, like almost like a child's, like a picture book, and I really like that style, so I wanted to try that. Now of course for his red jumper here, I didn't just color it in with red, I used purples and stuff as well. So yeah, no, as I said before, other colors mixed in, you know, you don't always have the same hue in each object. Now for the background, I wanted it pretty simple because this is a soft, simple illustration, but I don't know, I just thought that a soft, simple background would make the character stand out more, so that's what I decided to do. I used my grass green and then I added a few different other greens here and there just to add subtle shading and stuff to it, and I used green at the bottom to have basically grass and then I actually used my cool shadow marker, which is a bluey green color, for the background. Now I didn't just want to color it in block blue, I actually left some white lines coming down from the top, and that is basically just to signify like light beams or the sun, or you know, sun coming through the trees, something like that. So it's a bit of a lighting effect. Now of course I used my colorless blender to soften that as well, which I really like doing actually. And then I used a bit of a darker color, I believe it was Coral Sea, and I just did that in a few streaks here and there in the bluey parts, just so that there was a bit more of variation in the colors and give it a little bit more visual interest. Now after I did that, I decided I wanted to add just a tiny bit more detail to the background, so I got my grass green colored marker and I added some flicks up in the background to make it look more like grass, and then I decided to go in with those pencils, my Prismacolor Premier pencils, and I added some little textures here and there to show that it was grass. And I actually really like that because, I don't know, it just gives it a little bit more interest even though it's still simple. And as I said before, now I'm just going around with some colors, colored pencils, and yeah, adding more texture and fine tuning, you know, add little details here and there, like a little more streaks in his hair and some highlights on Pikachu, and also fixing up little parts here and there which were smears from the pencil. When you're using pencils and markers together, you have to be really careful because the alcohol in the marker can dissolve the pencil a little bit, so of course it kind of makes it disappear a little bit, but also what can happen is you can smear it, and once you smear a pencil with a marker, it's not going to come off. I tell you how many times I've tried to use a colorless blender to get rid of it. It doesn't work. But that's okay because you can actually go over the top with pencils and, you know, make it a little bit less noticeable. So you can't really see it now, which is pretty cool. So here's the final artwork, and to be honest, I am so happy with this. I love Pikachu. I love how he has that cheeky look on his face, and as you know, he is adorable. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit like and subscribe if you haven't already yet. Oh, and by the way, I'm just going to quickly announce that I have a little vlog channel. So yeah, we'll have a card on the screen and in the description, so go check out my vlog channel. There's no videos on it yet, but there will be. Bye everyone!